Today, we're exploring the key ideas from How to ADHD by Jessica McCabe. This is an independent educational overview enriched with our own integrative analysis and actionable exercises. Think of it as a guided reflection to spark your own insights, not a replacement for reading the book itself. The experience of living with what is commonly termed attention deficit hyperactivity disorder often begins as a profound internal conflict, a relentless feeling of falling short, of being fundamentally misaligned with an unspoken ideal. Many describe a persistent sense of failing at basic life administration, maintaining tidiness, managing schedules, or completing routine tasks, even while demonstrating remarkable aptitude and potential in more complex or engaging domains. This stark dissonance breeds deep frustration, both for the individual and for those in their orbit, fostering an ingrained belief that something is inherently wrong with them. This internal struggle casts a long shadow across every stage of life. As a child, it might manifest as a perpetually cluttered room or a forgotten school item. As a student, it could mean excelling in abstract subjects but consistently missing critical deadlines or administrative steps. In a professional setting, the pattern often includes periods of intense superstar productivity interspersed with puzzling, unexplained lapses. Personal relationships and home management also become arenas for these challenges, marked by disorganization, financial oversight, or perceived irresponsibility. Over time, these recurring difficulties internalize, morphing into self-ascribed labels like irresponsible, messy, or careless, deeply eroding self-worth. To cope with this relentless pressure, individuals often construct a repertoire of maladaptive strategies. Some might meticulously deny their struggles, projecting an image of effortless competence to ward off judgment. When this pretense inevitably falters, there's often an excessive inclination to apologize, even for circumstances beyond their control, readily accepting all blame. Others might resort to repeated pleas for extensions or assistance. A pervasive and ultimately exhausting strategy is the constant resolve to do better next time, which frequently translates into overcompensation, overworking, and hyperplanning. This relentless try-harder mentality pushes many to the brink of burnout, exhausting their mental and physical reserves in a desperate bid to conform. The true turning point arrives only with complete disillusionment. When the realization dawns, the problem isn't a lack of effort, but a fundamental mismatch between the self one is striving to be and the self one inherently is. This crucial shift involves stopping the frantic struggle, pausing to understand why conventional approaches have failed, and then seeking strategies that resonate with one's authentic neurodivergent self, rather than pursuing an impossible neurotypical ideal. This reframing paves the way for a more self-compassionate and effective approach to life's challenges. Unpacking the internal landscape, the paradox of potential and perceived failure. The pervasive misunderstanding surrounding attention deficit hyperactivity disorder stems from an outdated understanding, often failing even those who experience it firsthand. The term attention deficit is misleading. Individuals with ADHD do not lack attention, but rather struggle with regulating its intensity and focus. This can manifest as intense hyper-focus on stimulating activities where the world outside fades, or, conversely, as a relentless inability to concentrate on mundane, necessary tasks. Hyperactivity, often stereotyped as overt physical movement, can also be internalized as racing thoughts or rapid-fire speech. The core truth is that ADHD is a neurological condition rooted in fundamental brain differences, not merely a behavioral quirk or a character flaw. This explains why conventional strategies, perfectly suitable for neurotypical individuals, often fall flat for those with ADHD. The profound impact of this neurological difference extends across every facet of life, contributing to demonstrably worse outcomes and even reduced life expectancy, underscoring its seriousness beyond a simple quirk. Effective navigation demands a multifaceted approach, integrating various supports such as medication, a deep understanding of the condition itself, skills training, therapeutic interventions, coaching, and a robust support network. There is no single magic bullet. Individual journeys require personalized solutions. A significant barrier to both understanding and effective management is the pervasive societal stigma. This often compels individuals to conceal their diagnosis or mask their struggles, incurring immense personal cost. When neurodivergent individuals are held to neurotypical standards, they inevitably fall short, leading to criticism and internalized shame. The constant effort to appear normal often hides profound internal turmoil, culminating in burnout, anxiety, depression, or even self-medication. Even highly accomplished individuals with ADHD frequently achieve success at great personal expense, lacking adequate support to manage their internal landscape. At the heart of many daily struggles lie challenges with executive functions, the brain's command center for self-regulation, enabling us to plan, prioritize, and sustain focus on long-term goals. These critical functions, housed in the prefrontal cortex, mature significantly later in individuals with ADHD, often by as much as 30%. This means that an adult with ADHD might possess the executive functioning of someone considerably younger. Most conventional systems designed to support these functions inherently rely on their effective operation, creating a fundamental hurdle for neurodivergent brains. Key executive functions frequently impaired include response inhibition, the capacity to pause between impulse and action, which can lead to interrupting or oversharing. Working memory, the temporary mental workspace for manipulating information, is crucial for multi-step tasks like following instructions, yet often operates with fewer slots for new input. Set shifting, the flexibility to transition smoothly between different tasks or mental demands, can make multitasking or changing gears feel immensely effortful. Furthermore, the brain's hot and cool executive function systems play a role. While cool executive function governs logical processes, the hot system is driven by immediate emotions and motivation. In ADHD, strong emotions or the allure of instant gratification can cause the hot system to override the cool, leading to impulsive choices even when a more rational path is intellectually understood. Navigating this intricate internal landscape requires 3 core actions. First, taking ADHD seriously means acknowledging its invisible yet profound impact and embracing one's impairments as a necessary step towards navigating them effectively. Second, connecting with others who share similar experiences normalizes struggles, diminishes shame, and fosters self-acceptance, allowing individuals to recognize their unique value. Third, the pivotal shift involved working with one's brain, not against it. This means abandoning the futile try harder mantra for a more effective try different approach, developing unconventional, personalized methods, building a unique toolkit of strategies, and actively seeking or providing the accommodations needed to thrive. Recognizing that failure is not an endpoint, but an integral part of this continuous journey, propelled by perseverance and community support, is paramount. Navigating the neurodiverse world, mastering focus, time, and motivation. Beyond the foundational understanding of ADHD's neurological underpinnings, the daily lived experience often revolves around a constant struggle with practicalities like focus, time, and motivation. For many, the very concept of focus feels like an elusive quest. It's not a chosen deficit, but a challenge in regulating attention, much like a reptile needing external heat to manage body temperature. The prefrontal cortex, critical for top-down attentional control, develops differently, making it harder to filter out the endless stream of internal and external stimuli. This open door to the mind also explains the paradox of hyperfocus. When genuinely captivated, the brain can become so utterly absorbed that time and the outside world vanish. This intense immersion, while sometimes productive, can also lead to missed appointments or exhaustion. Since the brain often seeks stimulation due to chronic understimulation, attention becomes intensely interest-based. If a task lacks inherent appeal, the mind readily wanders. Mastering this requires developing a personalized toolbox to tame the focus beast. Strategies involve boosting the signal of necessary tasks while decreasing noise, perhaps through visual cues or instrumental music. Non-judgmental redirection, gently guiding attention back without self-criticism, is key, aided by mindfulness or a parking lot notepad for distracting thoughts. Leveraging hyperfocus requires establishing guardrails, like alarms, and leaving breadcrumbs to ease re-entry. Finally, physical movement acts as a natural stimulant, and scheduled brain breaks are crucial for recharging an energy-intensive brain, recognizing that even undirected wandering can be restorative. Time, for many neurodivergent individuals, feels less like a linear progression and more like a shape-shifting entity. It can compress under pressure, stretch endlessly in boredom, or simply vanish unnoticed. Routine tasks take unpredictable amounts of time. A planned 5-minute activity can easily balloon. This widespread time blindness or time nearsightedness is not poor planning, but a fundamental difference in temporal processing. Individuals often lack an intrinsic sense of time's passage, relying on external cues, and experience significantly shorter time horizons, meaning future events feel unreal until imminent. Moreover, plans often overlook crucial setup, cleanup, biological needs, or unexpected issues, leading to unrealistic expectations. The idealized self is frequently the default planner, leading to rigid schedules that foster guilt and burnout. Effective time management for these brains demands strategies tailored to these realities. Building time wisdom involves tracking actual task durations and working backward from deadlines to expose hidden steps. Making time real means externalizing its abstract nature through specific scheduling, e.g., Saturday at 10 a.m., time pillars, regular anchors, or visual clocks. Openly communicating about time challenges, asking for help with prioritization, and requesting accommodations are also vital. Crucially, it's essential to have periods where time doesn't matter, embracing kairos, opportunity time, over rigid chronos, linear time, through sequencing tasks or designating flexible days. Ultimately, effective scheduling is a dynamic balancing act, avoiding rigid over-optimization in favor of flexibility, buffer, and essential space for creative wandering. Beyond time and focus, the intricate dance of motivation presents its own unique challenges. Many find themselves in a perpetual internal struggle, knowing a task is important, yet feeling an insurmountable resistance to act. The neurodivergent brain is not primarily driven by a task's perceived importance, especially if it's lengthy, repetitive, or boring, qualities that can evoke a visceral delay aversion. Instead, it thrives on urgency, novelty, appropriate challenge, or deep personal interest. This stimulation seeking is linked to a distinct dopamine system. Anticipatory dopamine for future rewards may not be adequately released, and dopamine is reabsorbed quickly, making it hard for the brain to learn from distant positive outcomes. This fosters a preference for immediate gratification. Low dopamine levels can also create chronic understimulation, prompting the brain to seek excitement through last-minute urgency or by making tasks unnecessarily complex. Temporal discounting further compounds this, causing future rewards to diminish in value, making distant consequences feel irrelevant, and often leading to crisis-driven productivity. The wall of awful, an emotional barrier built from past failures and anxiety, also blocks action, made worse by weak working memory that struggles to recall the ultimate purpose of a task. It's important to recognize that motivation is just one piece of the puzzle. Skill gaps, perfectionism, or forgetfulness can also impede progress. Interestingly, simply initiating action can generate motivation rather than the other way around. Strategies involve filling in motivational planks, adding urgency, finding the right challenge level, tying tasks to personal interests, or injecting novelty. Reducing friction is key. Doing what can be done ahead of time, removing physical obstacles, or investing in enjoyable tools. Leveraging accountability through productivity partners or shortened feedback loops can provide external structure. Making rewards salient, personally meaningful, appropriately scaled, and immediate reinforces desired behaviors. Finally, the acceptance that one won't stick with things indefinitely is liberating. Cycling through hobbies or setting reevaluation dates acknowledges natural fluctuations in interest. Crucially, adopting a Coach B mindset of self-compassion, offering constructive feedback and encouragement instead of criticism, fosters resilience and continuous growth. Memory, or rather the lack thereof, often feels like a cruel joke. It's not about lacking vivid, episodic memories of the past, but the frustrating inability to recall immediate tasks, names, or recently learned information. This isn't merely a quirk, it profoundly impacts self-esteem, finances, and relationships. Memory relies on encoding, storage, and retrieval, but for many, the breakdown occurs at the encoding stage. Information never gets properly learned. Impaired working memory limits the slots for new information, especially verbal input, causing it to slip away. Recalling information without cues is also challenging, particularly for time-based perspective memory, remembering to do something at a specific time. The toolbox for memory includes external assistance like calendars and to-do lists, lowering working memory demand through monotasking or breaking down steps, and improving encoding by actively engaging with new information, stories, visuals, teaching others. While cues are powerful, they must be used judiciously, appearing only when action is immediately possible and, crucially, tied to intention cues that connect daily tasks to larger goals. Paradoxically, some forgetting is a gift, allowing for fresh starts, rediscovery, and an appreciation for new experiences. Finally, the realm of sleep presents another significant hurdle. Sleep disorders are remarkably common in neurodivergent populations, historically even part of diagnostic criteria. Common struggles include a later natural chronotype, night owl tendencies, the brain's relentless chatter preventing sleep, unfinished tasks spilling into late hours, the side effects or occasional benefits of stimulant medication, revenge bedtime procrastination, reclaiming personal time lost, and inconsistent routines. Despite societal pressures to sacrifice sleep, consistent, quality rest is non-negotiable for these brains, directly impacting energy, focus, and emotional regulation. Catching up on weekends offers little relief. The sleep toolbox emphasizes prioritizing sufficient sleep, implementing modified good sleep hygiene, e.g., timing stimulants, avoiding pre-bed conflict, motivating oneself to sleep, meeting daytime needs, enjoyable wind-down rituals, sensory comfort, working with one's natural chronotype, and having backup plans for sleepless nights. Ultimately, shedding moralistic judgments about sleep patterns and advocating for flexible, chronotype-aligned lifestyles is crucial for collective well-being. Beyond the individual, connections, co-occurring conditions, and systemic shifts. Navigating life with a neurodivergent brain often extends beyond individual challenges into the complex landscape of social interaction and relationships. Many grapple with social awkwardness, finding it difficult to form and maintain friendships. Judith Snow's framework highlights that individuals frequently have smaller friendship and participation circles, leading to an over-reliance on a few intimate connections or professional services. This often stems from visible traits like impulsivity and inattention, which can be stigmatized, combined with fewer opportunities to practice social skills. Difficulties in monitoring subtle social cues and regulating empathy further complicate interactions, sometimes leading to misinterpretations. Even seemingly trivial small talk, though often disliked, serves as a vital tool for gauging compatibility. Beyond behavioral strategies, a profound shift in mindset is crucial for social success. Anxious overcorrection often arises from flawed beliefs, unrealistic expectations of oneself or others, a scarcity mindset about relationships, feeling unlovable due to rejection sensitivity, and confusing mere fitting in with true belonging. The pivotal realization is that genuine friendship is a multi-step process built on consistent connection over time, not instant liking. Authentic bonds develop gradually through consistent engagement in the broader circle of participation, allowing relationships to deepen naturally. Actively participating and allowing connections to evolve is key. Crucially, the experience of neurodivergence is rarely singular. It is a dynamic interplay between brain differences and a myriad of other psychological, biological, and socio-environmental factors. This ADHD and concept underscores that a strategy effective for one person may fail another, even with similar support needs, because their underlying circumstances differ. For example, profound grief or trauma can dramatically exacerbate challenges previously attributed solely to ADHD, revealing deeper layers. This necessitates a holistic view, recognizing that an individual's journey is shaped by a complex web of intersecting influences. Psychological factors frequently coexist, including other neurodevelopmental conditions like autism leading to ADHD, tic disorders, or learning disabilities, dyslexia, dyscalculia, dysgraphia, that compound daily struggles. Paradoxically, giftedness can sometimes mask ADHD, delaying diagnosis. Non-neurodevelopmental conditions, such as depression, anxiety disorders, PTSD, substance use disorders, or eating issues, also interact profoundly with ADHD. Depression can cripple motivation, anxiety can lead to rumination that paradoxically hinders focus, and trauma can overwhelm executive function, worsening emotional dysregulation. Biological factors also play a critical role. Hormonal fluctuations during puberty, menstrual cycles, pregnancy, and menopause can significantly impact symptom severity by affecting dopamine levels. Differences in presentation based on biological sex often lead to diagnostic disparities. ADHD symptoms evolve with age, with hyperactivity often becoming more internalized. Pregnancy, migraines, and chronic pain further add layers of distraction and fatigue, complicating consistent health management. Finally, socio-environmental factors profoundly shape the lived experience. Cultural norms, societal expectations, and the demands of different subcultures can place immense pressure on executive functions. Medical racism and systemic biases contribute to significant disparities in diagnosis and treatment based on ethnicity and race. Socioeconomic status critically influences access to accommodations and quality care. Furthermore, major life transitions, which demand a surge in executive function, often push individuals to seek diagnosis only when already overwhelmed. The interplay among these factors is paramount. An accurate diagnosis for all conditions, not just ADHD, provides essential clarity, enabling holistic and effective treatment. Far from being limiting, diagnostic labels offer a framework for understanding struggles, accessing accommodations, and replacing damaging stereotypes, like lazy, with accurate, empowering self-descriptions. They foster community, allowing individuals to see and be seen in their full, complex humanity. This nuanced understanding extends to relationships between neurodivergent individuals, brains, and their neurotypical loved ones, hearts. These dynamics often face unique challenges. Hearts, driven by care, can grow frustrated by actions that appear illogical or inconsistent, leading to a destructive cycle where brains fear disappointing and hearts grow impatient, eroding trust. These struggles stem directly from ADHD's impact, not a lack of effort or care. It's crucial to understand that brains exert significant, often unseen, internal effort. Their progress is nonlinear, and symptoms persist even with management. Conventional relationship advice, tailored for neurotypical cognitive function, often fails or causes distress. Intellectual strengths in one area do not negate specific cognitive impairments, making seemingly simple tasks surprisingly difficult. Inconsistency in performance is common, influenced by hyperfocus, sleep, or distraction. Shame and anxiety from past failures create powerful emotional barriers. The double empathy problem highlights that communication breakdowns stem from differing processing styles, not a lack of empathy from either side. Crucially, many challenging ADHD traits are two sides of the same coin, manifesting as strengths like spontaneous romance, innovative problem-solving, or deep caring. For hearts, a toolbox of strategies can transform these dynamics. Empathy involves asking directly about their inner experience, accepting their unique perspective, and advocating for their needs, even if unconventional. Choosing battles means prioritizing key issues, allowing for safe failure, and accepting that some things may never be done perfectly, or finding alternative solutions with a milk carton rule rather than solely relying on the brain to change. Collaboration is essential, clarifying goals, allowing equifinality, different paths to the same goal, and seeking solutions that fully meet both partners' needs. Hearts must also stay in their lane, supporting the brain in building their own external support system rather than becoming their primary manager. Looking for the good means actively noticing effort, appreciating the positive aspects of ADHD traits, assuming best intent, and celebrating successes with specific, immediate feedback. Finally, self-care is paramount, setting boundaries, seeking outside support for oneself, allowing one's own feelings, anger, hurt, to exist without negating intent, and taking necessary breaks from the relationship itself if it's chronically unserving. The What's the Plan approach fosters collaborative planning for all aspects of life, distributing mental and physical loads equitably, with regular, non-judgmental check-ins to adjust course. Ultimately, the journey to navigate neurodivergent challenges moves beyond merely finding individual tools. While strategies are valuable, they demand immense personal cost and cannot entirely erase inherent struggles. The pivotal shift lies in recognizing that disability often stems not from the individual's condition, but from a world not built to accommodate diverse needs, the social model of disability. It is far more sustainable and equitable to change systems than to expect individuals to shoulder the entire burden of adaptation. Personal growth fueled by understanding ignites this larger movement. Learning about oneself bridges the self-discrepancy gap, empowering self-advocacy. These individual shifts create ripple effects, inspiring broader advocacy for change in all spheres, from classrooms to workplaces, converging into powerful waves that benefit everyone. Open conversations normalize coping mechanisms, leading to better care and positive societal impacts. Workplaces and educational institutions are increasingly adopting universal design principles, creating environments inherently accessible to all, making life easier not just for those with specific challenges, but for everyone by reducing cognitive load. Contributing to this transformation means cultivating motivation by envisioning an inclusive future, focusing on constructive goals, joining forces with advocacy groups, and, most powerfully, sharing one's own story to reduce stigma and foster empathy. This journey of collective understanding allows us to see through 4 eyes instead of 2, enriching our perspective and making a more accepting world inevitable. Integrative analysis, embracing authenticity and collective flourishing. The profound journey through the neurodivergent experience ultimately reveals that life unfolds not as a rigid, linear progression, but as an intricate narrative punctuated by choice points. We constantly encounter unexpected buts, unforeseen obstacles or challenges, which then lead to therefores, new choices and shifts in direction. True progress doesn't come from forcing an original path, but from observing how our efforts actually go rather than how we believe they should go. This empirical approach makes previously invisible obstacles visible and therefore navigable. Ultimately, personal empowerment transcends merely finding ways around challenges on a predetermined path. It lies in gaining the capacity to reconsider the path itself, to decide if it still aligns with our current values, and whether we genuinely wish to continue down it. Many personal journeys reveal that what was initially sought wasn't what was truly needed. We might discover that clinging to rigid expectations of who we should be or what we should achieve is a significant source of unhappiness. The core insight is a radical acceptance. One already embodies the person they are meant to be. Our brains function uniquely, experiencing varied levels of focus and occasional distractions, excelling in some areas while struggling in others. The goal is not to fix oneself to fit a neurotypical mold, but to acknowledge one's inherent worth as is, and to live a life attuned to one's authentic self. This means cultivating joy and fulfillment in the present, even amidst ongoing growth, rather than deferring happiness until a hypothetical state of enoughness is reached. We possess ample capacity to give and contribute, and we have the power to draw our own starting lines for a life aligned with our deepest values, free from the burden of earning the right to self-acceptance. While understanding the challenges of neurodivergence is essential, it is equally vital to recognize and embrace the unique strengths that often accompany it. What might be termed a deficit can also be a profound gift, leading to distinct advantages. Many tend to focus heavily on impairments, overlooking their inherent talents, because these strengths often feel easy or are simply the natural flip side of a perceived weakness. For instance, the very mechanism of hyperfocus, while sometimes challenging to direct, can be channeled into passionate dedication and immense productivity. Impulsivity, often viewed negatively, can fuel groundbreaking ventures and spontaneous creativity. An insatiable curiosity fosters deep learning and innovative problem-solving. The ability to simplify complex ideas, a trait sometimes undervalued, is a powerful asset in communication and teaching. True empowerment comes from comprehending how one's brain functions on an empirical level, and then actively leaning into its distinctive capabilities. Success, for many, is found not in endlessly striving to master areas of weakness, but in doubling down on what they are already good at. Recognizing these diverse strengths is not about compensating for challenges, but about leveraging distinctive ways of thinking. We possess innate skills and aptitudes that manifest in combinations unlike anyone else's. Furthermore, interdependence is a core truth. No one is proficient at everything. Just as a diverse team with varied skills is more effective, communities thrive when individuals lean on each other, combining their unique strengths to overcome obstacles and achieve shared goals. This approach allows everyone to focus on what they do best, fostering resilience and collective success, creating a richer, more understanding world where every neurotype can flourish. The ultimate implication is a profound invitation to cease the battle against oneself, to wholeheartedly embrace one's unique cognitive blueprint, and to build a life and a world that celebrates this authentic self. Actionable Exercises. Actionable Exercises. 1. Embracing try different over try harder. Pick one reoccurring task or challenge you consistently struggle with. It could be something simple, like keeping a specific area tidy, starting a new project, or managing routine appointments. Instead of blaming yourself or vowing to try harder next time, consider this an experiment. Brainstorm a completely different approach that works with your unique brain, rather than forcing it into a neurotypical mold. Perhaps you delegate a whole category of tasks, simplify your environment drastically, or integrate a distraction like music. Maybe you break it into absurdly small, non-threatening steps. The goal is to let go of perfection, embrace imperfection, and discover what genuinely reduces friction and resonates with how you naturally operate. Chapter 2. Mapping your real-time reality. To build your internal time wisdom, choose 3 to 5 common tasks you do regularly. Example, getting ready in the morning, responding to non-urgent emails, preparing a specific meal. Before you begin each task, make an educated guess about how long you think it will actually take you to complete, including any setup or cleanup. Immediately after finishing, record the actual time spent. Keep a simple log for a week or 2. Review your notes to identify patterns. Are you consistently underestimating certain types of activities? This practice helps you develop a more realistic internal clock, reduce future overscheduling, and replace self-blame with accurate data for more effective planning. 3. The Motivation Catalyst Microboost. Identify one task you're currently avoiding or procrastinating on, especially if it feels boring or overwhelming. Instead of relying on sheer willpower, think about how you can infuse it with one of your ADHD brain's natural motivational drivers: urgency, novelty, a healthy challenge, or genuine personal interest. Can you set a very short, visible deadline? Introduce a new tool or method? Turn it into a mini-game or friendly competition? Or connect it to a deeper passion or value? Choose just one small tweak to experiment with. You might also remove one tiny friction point, like gathering all necessary materials beforehand. The aim is to make the start more appealing and less daunting. 4. The Emotional Navigator Check-in. The next time you feel a strong, overwhelming emotion, like frustration, anger, or deep sadness, pause before reacting. Take a few deep breaths and notice where you feel it in your body. Try to name the emotion you're experiencing and estimate its intensity on a scale of 1 to 10. Instead of trying to push it away or immediately fix the situation, ask yourself, what is this emotion trying to communicate to me? What underlying need or boundary might it be signaling? Journaling for a few minutes or simply sitting with the feeling can help you gather valuable information, allowing you to use your emotions as a compass, guiding you toward a more intentional and self-compassionate response. 5. Activating your unique strengths. Reflect on moments when you felt genuinely engaged, accomplished, or in flow, times when things seemed to click easily for you. What specific strengths were you using? Perhaps your hyper-focus allowed you to dive deep into a complex problem. Your divergent thinking sparked an innovative solution. Or your natural curiosity led to a brilliant new idea. Now, identify one area where you often feel challenged or find yourself struggling. How can you intentionally leverage one of your identified strengths to approach this challenge differently? Or, if it's something truly outside your natural strengths, how can you seek interdependence by collaborating with someone whose talents complement your needs? Celebrate these unique abilities daily. That wraps up our exploration of today's book. If even one idea here gave you something to reflect on, give it a like so YouTube knows to share more with you. And if you'd like the next insight in your feed, hit subscribe. Remember, what you heard today is our independent interpretation, enriched with analysis and exercises. The full book has far more depth, so consider reading it to experience the author's work directly. Thanks for listening to DeftU Insights, where we turn great books into tools for growth.